Hi, Diane Dressback here, and I have Melissa Farley with me, and we are interviewing Marilyn Szczotka, who is a chapter writer for the compilation book From Us for You, Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. So thank you for being with us, Marilyn. It's so hard for me. It is so hard for me because
I know.
I am going to call you Zot because
Yes.
I have known Zot since high school, and in my sophomore year, I tried out for the drill team, and I was on the drill team sophomore through senior year. And Zot, we could never say your name when we were back then, so we just called her Zot. So I think the first time I've ever called you Marilyn was just like 2 seconds ago. So so Zot was our drill team advisor for those 3 years, and we have myself and many women have stayed in touch with her through the years because she was such a great influence on for me personally, my leadership development skills and everything else. So she's just wonderful, and I'm thrilled to have her here today. So Zot, why don't you just give us a little introduction on, so we can learn a little bit about you and what you're up to.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Thank you for those kind words. That was really special to me. And you are special to me because I was the drill team advisor from 1970 to 82 at El Dorado High School. Diane's senior year, she was a captain, and oh my goodness, was she fabulous. We had such a wonderful year that year, and she was a trooper, even marching, bless her heart, with bloody blisters on her heels. She never quit. She just never quit. She was such an inspiration to everybody. And now look at her. She's just developed into such a wonderful author and a fine young lady and human being. I'm very proud of her.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that in your bio.
Is that good?
That was wonderful. So what are you up to?
What am I up to? Yeah. I have been retired, and my big bucket list after retirement was to travel, because I always put that aside while I was working for 37 years as a teacher and raising a son. So I traveled, and I retired in 2003, and I've been on 40 trips, 40 cruises, and several land cruises. I've been to China 3 times, and Japan and Taiwan. Fabulous. I love South America. And as soon as COVID is over with, I'm taking my family down to South America and Antarctica. I have it all planned in my head, but I haven't called the travel agent yet. But we are going. We are going. Love it.
Wow, that is incredible. 40 trips. You are like, yes. Is that a record? I feel like that's a record setting.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I went by myself if nobody wanted to go to that particular place, or they didn't have the time or wasn't available to them. And sometimes I went with family. Sometimes I went with friends. The last 2 cruises that I was on, I took my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter. We've been to Alaska and to Mexico so far. So I want to go to South America with them and Antarctica when all of this COVID is over with. That's my next goal. And I'm enjoying retirement. I have wonderful friends, and I've been busy, except now I've been a hostage because of COVID, as all of us over 65 are. So that's my family is pretty adamant about me staying home. So I am.
Yeah, trying to keep you safe, but I want to join your family so I can go on these cruises.
Oh yeah, come on, we'll have fun. I'm telling you, we have such a good time. My granddaughter is 6 now, so she was 4, 3.5, 4 when we went to Alaska. She remembers, and 5, 5.5, we went to Mexico, and she swam with the dolphin. We all swam with the dolphins, and oh my gosh, she talks about that to this day. So she has a good memories and good memories of it for such a young child. But I'm loving it. And also, you see, I have to be good and be a hostage. Otherwise, I can't see my granddaughter. So I've got to be healthy. And my son monitors that.
sounds like you've got a family that really loves you. So
Oh,
that's
thank
really
you. Thank
awesome.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I love your history with Diane. It's so cool to hear that. I agree. She is fabulous at everything she does and has continued to stay that way. But
Yes.
let me know a little bit about what did you write about for your chapter in Diane's compilation? What's your chapter about?
Well, best friends and equal buddies. Just my education growing up as a child, playing with my neighborhood guys. There were three boys and myself, the four of us. So I was always an equal. And once I got into the real world of education and saw how things were going, I decided that I have to also become an advocate for women, because even though Title IX came into being, not quite 50 years ago, it still has a long way to go. And so that's what I kind of wrote about of my personal training, my education that I went through in high school and college, and extracurricular classes that I took, like self-defense and yoga, and I was able to work with them and teach them as well. And just different things that I really enjoyed. But drill team was my heart. That was just my special, fabulous, just favorite. And the girls, that's it. I could do that forever. I would still be teaching if I could just do drill team. I would.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I would.
What did you love about it so much?
Well, I liked that the girls were working as a team. They learned teamwork. That was very important to me. They were also self-reliant. They worked as creativity, as far as them creating the routines, working with each other, the music, teaching each other, establishing responsibilities, and all round wonderful citizens. And they all are fabulous young girls. Now they're still young girls to me. They will always be young girls to me. They're like my kids. I call them my kids. Let's go here, let's go there. I'm like the protective mother still, I guess, is what you would call me, the mother hen. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you were such an important part of a lot of these young students' lives, and that you really stayed with them. What is it you think that you did that was so spectacular, that made such a impact on all of these students' lives?
Oh gosh, I really don't know if I could put my finger on something like that. I never gave it much thought. I just made sure that what we did, what I taught them, how we operated and the drill team functioned and so forth, was always on an educational direction. And I always did it with love. I did it with fun and kindness. I hope I did. And I felt that was very important to the all-round program.
And
yeah.
And I would add to that, I mean, I was going to say humor, fun, and she is an excellent listener, and she never ever forgets anybody's name, even to this day. It's amazing. And there's a lot of people from high school that, when we have drill team reunions and Zot comes to them, she remembers everybody's names and everything about them. I mean, I don't know. It's just such an amazing talent. And a skill, and I think it's a love that you have. I do think that you must have had a passion for that. Yeah,
I did. All of the girls were so important to me. And I know that learning a student's name is very, very critical in the very beginning, I believe, in education, because that gives them their feeling of self-worth, their individuality, and that they're important. And no matter what grade level they're in, whether it's first grade or 10th grade, I think that's a very necessary basic component of them feeling comfortable and accepted, and just helps all around well-being.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So Zot, you you brought up that we're all sort of prisoners of the pandemic, especially if you're kind of in the older age group. But I'm curious, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff planned that you would like to do.
Yeah.
What does 5 years from now look like for you? 5 years from now, where is Zot? What are you doing?
I hope to still be traveling I don't know. I hope I don't have to use a cane but, or a walker because I still am going to go. If my body holds out and my knees don't give out, I'm going to be traveling still. And taking my granddaughter. It's such an experience to learn about other cultures and meet other peoples and see other places around the world, not just your own little backyard or your own little hometown. And I think that it is very, very important to learn about others, to go cross culture so that we can become a better society overall. I think that's important.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's
Mhm,
great that you want to give her those
mhm,
experiences. That's really
mhm,
great.
mhm, mhm.
So let me ask you, you seem like you carry a lot of wisdom and experience. I can just tell how much Diane admires you just from her glowing face, as she talks about you. So one of the things that I find really fascinating, and we ask all of our authors this question, is I always ask you, I think when we experience failure, provides really great opportunities to learn something about
Mhm,
ourselves or about how to
mhm,
do things
mhm.
differently. And so I'm
Sure.
curious if you've had something in your life where you maybe felt like it was a failure, but you got something valuable out of that experience that helped you make, a decision differently in the future.
Hmm. Well, I know one thing really stands out in my mind. When I was in college, I guess it was midway second year, I wanted to major in physical education. Health and physical education is what they called it at the time back in my university. And I wanted to minor in science because I really value science and I was interested in it. And I thought, well, that would be a good teaching combination. I went to the science department, and I have to say, the science department chairman, I don't recall his name. Now look at that, Diane. I blanked him out. How did that happen?
It
I
might be a
blanked
good thing. Might
him.
be a good
Yeah,
thing
I
for
think
this
so.
conversation.
Oh my gosh, he was just livid with me because how could I possibly want to minor in science? He wanted me to major in science and minor in PE. And I said, no, because I've already gone, to all of my, and now I have to do all of my activity classes and then learn how to referee games and swimming and teaching and all that. And he would not let me do it. So I said, well, okay, then thank you very much. Goodbye. So I just majored in health and physical education and a minor in history. When I came out to California, health was not a teaching major at the time. So my credential had to be just physical education. And so with a minor in history, I had to complete some classes for the state of California. And that's how I ended up with a minor in history. But that was changing for me because I really had my heart set on science, but he wasn't having it. So that was a
Mm,
big changing point. Mm.
yeah. I'm curious, what made you interested in pursuing health and physical education in the first place? And were there a lot of women that were doing that at the time?
My classes at the university, there were probably 15 of us in our class of majors, PE majors. I just always enjoyed sports. I always enjoyed activity. I enjoyed working with people. We used to, when it would rain, we would go indoors, and the four of us, my playmates and myself, would go and we would play school. If it was my turn, we took turns deciding what we wanted to do on rainy days. And I always played school and I was the teacher. So I enjoyed that, helping them. And I was the eldest of the four of us. So I could teach them things that they hadn't been subjected to yet in their classes. So we had fun with that and I enjoyed it. And I decided, well, back in those days, you could be a teacher, you could be a nurse. Well, there's not a airline stewardess. They didn't offer a lot of choices for females back in those days. And nursing was definitely out. I just can't even look at my COVID shot, let alone anything else. No. So I enjoyed working with kids and physical education and PE and sports in general. So it was just kind of a natural thing for me, really, that I got into. And like I said, the science would have been perfect with it because I had so many science and anatomy and biology classes already, kinesiology for my credential in PE, but it turned out fine. I'm happy with the way it went. Very happy.
Did you ever think about going back and finishing the science part of the degree?
No, no, I'm happy with what I did, because at this point, well, back when I was teaching in the drill team, I had a son, so going back to school was difficult. I mean, just, as a single parent, taking care and daycare or childcare for him, and it was just something that never crossed my mind again, really.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, what is it that you want people, after they read your chapter, what is it you hope they feel or walk away from learning something from you?
Well, I hope that they learn that perseverance and dedication are both very important in whatever you choose to do, and that especially for women and young girls, it is still important and necessary to continue on pursuing and developing an equality in the between the sexes as far as all aspects of activities are concerned, whether it be sports or science or anything else. I think that that's something that needs to be worked on still to this day in our society.
How do you feel about don't we have like the first female referee in the NFL right now? Have you
Yes,
followed
she
that
was
story at
there.
all?
Yes, 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 yes. Her name was Sharon Hall, I think. Sounds familiar. I tried to remember hers, but I only saw her in that one game. But we've had Violet and a couple of other female referees in basketball for a few years now. My son and I are avid Lakers fans, and we go to all the games. But now, of course, not with COVID, but we've had several female basketball referees, so that's a good thing too. I'm happy to see that, and now the first one in NFL, which is great as well.
I
So
saw
You know-
that.
slowly,
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
that. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, it's a
yeah,
female.
yeah,
That was awesome to see that.
yes, finally, finally, finally. So slowly but surely, Title IX is pushing along, and I hope that they take away from my chapter to continue and pursue that, just because it's very important to
Mhm.
all of us. Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I have one last question for you, Zat. And
Okay.
that is, while you were writing your chapter for the compilation book, was there anything that you learned about yourself? Anything, when you're writing the words down, anything that you learned about yourself while you were doing that?
Huh. Well, that the one instance that I recall with the drill team, and I included it in the chapter because I thought it was rather important, when we were looking for a restaurant coming back from competition up in LA, and we had no idea where to go. And you guys were famished because we hadn't had lunch. So we pulled off and we saw a place that we thought was called Norms, but we didn't know that it wasn't part of a chain of Norms. But we got in there and it was really not what we wanted to eat, stay in, or it wasn't our cup of tea, let's put it that way. And oh my gosh, my self-defense moves that I learned a million years ago just came from nowhere to protect my girls. That was just, if this guy does this, I'm going to use this move, and anybody even tries to touch her, I'm going to do that, and blah blah blah. And I couldn't believe it that came uh, into my head without even thinking about it. So it was, I think, just the mother hen protective idea that automatically, and I've never used my self-defense training before at all for any kind of reason. And that was the first instance experience of it. And I thought, well, and I didn't have to use it because we turned around and left. It wasn't our cup of tea.
Yeah, yeah.
That was it.
Well, I really appreciate you not only writing a chapter for the book, but talking with us today. And I'm really excited to get your story and everybody else's stories out so people can read them for themselves. And but it means so much to me that you wanted and you made it happen where you could participate in the book. I know I had to do a little arm twisting there to begin with. You're like, oh, I'm not, what was it? I think you said you're a PE teacher, not an English major.
Yes, that's
But
right.
yeah, but I'm so glad that you did. And you are loved not only by me, I'm getting all teary, not only by me, but I know of 60 other women who feel the same way that I do. So I thank you
Wow.
for that. So
Thank you for those kind words, my dear. Thank you so much. I love you all to pieces. You know that, and would do anything for you. It's like you're my family, you're my kids, and that's how I've always felt towards my students. And you are just the best. Thank you, Diane, for doing this. You did twist my arm, and I'm very glad that you did. Very glad. You're good at it.
Well, all right. So thank you for watching the interview today. And if you would like to share it with others, we would love that. You can find out more about the book if you go to FromUsForYou.com. And stay tuned for other interviews and more exciting news from this side. So thank you, and make it a very hopeful day. Thank you.